over southern Wisconsin over the course of the past weekend, and alert day conditions are again in the forecast as we head Tuesday going on into Wednesday. The very latest impacts, I'll tell them all to you in just a few moments.
Plus, upgrading safety for students, how the Middleton Cross Plains School District is showing parents the extra measures being taken.
And it's a sound that has become all too common for those who live near the airport. Residents react to night training missions from F-35 aircraft. You're watching News 3 now at 5.
Well, thanks for staying with us, everyone. The First Warned Weather Team, they started talking about alert day conditions over the weekend.
Yep, got a couple of inches of snow over the weekend, and now we have more coming in into the area. Alex, what's the latest on this incoming system?
Indeed, yes, we do have more snow on the way and windy conditions and icy roads. This is especially for areas Madison and points towards the north. For Tuesday night going on into Wednesday, it's becoming clearer and clearer that we're going to have accumulating snow, especially for Madison areas towards the north. Juneau, Adams, Marquette, Green Lake, Columbia County, and Dodge County all under winter weather advisories where the higher totals are expected, with a very sharp cutoff in snow expected south and west of Madison. Just a few tens of miles, a county-wide, can make a big difference in this weather system that's on the way. Here's the winter weather advisory that's in effect from Tuesday evening going to Wednesday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning north of Madison, but would not be shocked in the slightest with the information the First Warned Weather Team have been looking through for days now if this sinks just a little bit further towards the south. And we have snow in the forecast tonight as well. That's out to the west, out towards Minneapolis and Mankato. It's going to quickly move towards the south and towards the east. Future track showing that light snow making it into Camp Douglas, Dells, just north and west of Madison as we head towards the 10 o'clock newscast. And some slick spots are possible already tonight going on into Tuesday morning. But I guess this is just the start before things really rev up as we go into this time tomorrow night. The very latest on using Future Track to show you when that's all going to begin tomorrow evening in a couple of minutes.
All right, Alex, thank you. Today, Governor Tony Evers signed Assembly Bill 201, also known as Braden's Law. It was introduced after the tragic passing of 15-year-old Braden Bone. Braden died by suicide after becoming the target of sextortion. Now, the bill will create new penalties for sextortion crimes. It also provides the victim or victim's family with payment from the Department of Justice Crime Victim Compensation Fund. A barn considered a total loss after a fire last night. This was in Dodge County in the town of Lowell, about 10 miles south of Beaver Dam. The Beaver Dam Fire Department got a call of a structure fire just after 7:30. Now, due to the size of the structure and the lack of a water supply there, an excavator was used to help put it out. No injuries reported, no other buildings were damaged. And 4 people are being displaced after a water pipe burst at an apartment in Madison early this morning. It was about 2:30 this morning. A person living in the building ran over to Fire Station 10 to report the burst pipe. Firefighters found that burst and a large amount of water pouring into the unit. Those living below then reported water leaking through the ceiling, causing them to evacuate. Firefighters eventually were able to shut off the water. Property managers were able to offer accommodations for those tenants who were displaced by that leak.
Right now, the Middleton Cross Plains School District is giving a safety and security update.
That's right. The district telling parents how they can prepare for critical incidents. Our Tanisha Shaw joining us in studio with more. Tanisha, you spoke with their security officer today.
Hi, Eric and Susan. Yes, I spoke to a security officer for the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District, and they told me in the past 10 years, they've had a lot of changes when it comes to safety in schools. Asher Torbeck is the Safety and Security Coordinator for the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District. Keeping students safe is his first priority.
I have a thing that I say that I have to move that needle every single day.
As a father with experience in the military and law enforcement, he understands that school safety has changed over the past 10 years.
And I used to do this sort of training for a very long time, since shortly after Sandy Hook.
A shooter killed 26 people, 20 kids, and 6 educators in Connecticut back in 2012. That tragic shooting prompted school districts like MCPASD to find different ways to secure its buildings.
I mean, we've changed things like how we're operating our vestibules, how we're operating our visitor management system. So that system will run against the sex offender registry program. It'll run against the Interpol and FBI watch lists, so somebody's on those lists. And then we have the ability to create an explicit ban against someone if we have some sort of information that we gather or there's some sort of incident that occurs.
So far, there have been dozens of school shootings in the U.S. this year, according to CNN and the Gun Violence Archive. Since 2008, there have been 9 school shootings in Wisconsin, one of them being the school shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison that killed 3 in 2024.
We want our schools to be open and inviting, but we also need to make sure that we're secure and we're keeping our students and staff safe. So we reduce that down to one entry point within our schools, and then we create levels of security from that entry.
Torbeck told me that these safety measures apply to all critical incidents, not just school shootings. The Middleton Cross Plain Area School District will have their safety meeting at Park Elementary School starting at 5:30 in the evening on Wednesday.
Tanasia, thank you. Today, Congressman Mark Pocan visited the Badger Prairie Needs Network to talk about the issue of affordability. He says 1 in 5 children are in food insecure homes across the country. That comes as the administration passed additional cuts to SNAP, which will impact 700,000 people in Wisconsin, including 270,000 children.
47 million people nationwide face food insecurity. So Badger Prairie Needs Network, other food pantries, it's so important the work that they're doing. And again, 100% volunteer driven is really amazing what they're doing here.
The Badger Prairie Needs Network adds that it's experiencing a 40% increase in the number of families coming to them for help. But it's not all bad news. The pantry has recently added more volunteer orientations after all of their previously scheduled sessions were filled for the rest of the year.
Well, this week, the 115th Fighter Wing will conduct nighttime test flights for its F-35 jets.
The noise of the jets continues to be a big topic of discussion for those who live on Madison's north and east sides. With more on that, Jalen Banks joins us live tonight from Truax Field, where that testing will take place. Jalen?
Susan and Eric, through Thursday, Madison residents should expect to see F-35 jets taking off and landing at the 115th fighter facility here at Truax Field. And part of the disagreements over the F-35s have gone on for years now. One of the main areas of contention has to do with the noise of the jets. I caught up with former energy efficiency analyst Scott Pigg, who has spent the last few years tracking the frequency and decibels of the F-35s through a network of 20 meters that he has set up throughout the area near the facility. And here's what he found.
If you're talking to somebody, you have to shout to be understood. Once you start getting up over 100, it doesn't matter how loud you yell, you know, you can't communicate with another person. If we could find a way to just like, you know, some flight paths or some departure routes or something that get that down in just even a few decibels would, I think, really help.
The 115th Fighter Wing says pilots follow specific flight paths to try and minimize noise for area residents. And Scott Pigg says that he's been in contact with the Fighter Wing and says that he hopes to work with them to continue to mitigate the noise. Tonight at 6, we'll hear more from Scott on his process on how he's able to track the noise and the decibels from the fighter jets. But I'm going to send it back to you guys in studio. For now, reporting live from Truax Field, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
All right, Jalen, thank you. The feature documentary Baristas versus Billionaires is set to premiere in Madison, narrated by Academy Award winner Susan Sarandon. It follows Buffalo-based Starbucks baristas as they work to expose the company's union-busting tactics while explaining in their own words how they're going to win the fight. Workers are currently on strike in 85 cities until Starbucks agrees to offer a fair union contract.
What attracted me to the story and what I find so surprising and inspiring is the fact that most of the organizers in this new union that was just set up 4 years ago are young people. I can't think of another union in the country that's ever happened to. And these kids, I call them kids, they won't back down.
The screenings of the documentary will be held at the Barrymore on Wednesday and Thursday. Tickets are priced at $15. A link to purchase can be found at our website, channel3000.com.
Paramount has launched a hostile takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. It comes after Netflix announced its purchase of WBD on Friday. That deal is valued at $82 billion. Paramount is hoping to win over Warner Brothers Discovery's shareholders with an offer of $108.4 billion. And the nominations for the 83rd Golden Globes were announced today. One battle after another is the lead contender for the awards with 9 nominations overall, while films Sentimental Value and Sinners had 8 and 7 nominations each. Failing to make the cut was Wicked for Good.
I think this was probably one of the bigger snubs of the morning. The second film wasn't received as well critically than the first film.
HBO's The White Lotus led all TV shows with 6 nominations. It faces off in the drama category against The Diplomat, The Pit, and 3 Apple TV series, Pluribus, Severance, and Slow Horses. You can watch the Golden Globes right here on WISC TV on January 11th.
And next at 5, Alex tells us about the alert day conditions coming to southern Wisconsin.
And the state's Laboratory of Hygiene has a new director, why he left his job with the Department of Veterans Affairs.
And the U.S. Supreme Court takes up a case centered around the president's power, why the Trump administration says it has the right to fire independent agency officials. And on Wall Street, red numbers. The Dow Jones tumbling more than 215 points. The Nasdaq loses 32. The S&P 500 falls 24. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
The federal government is recalling a popular children's toy.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission announcing the recall of Create on Crayola branded Pip Cubes. The cubes contain magnets that can become loose, and that could harm kids if they swallow them. They were sold at Michael's stores around the country, Michael's website, and on Amazon. So far, there are no reports of any injuries.
Well, the Wisconsin State Laboratory of Hygiene has a new director. In November, Rudolph Johnson was named to the position, previously at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, where he directed work to better understand the impacts of a range of chemical, physical, and environmental hazards that veterans may have been exposed to during their military service.
One of the things that always caught my attention working at the CDC and later at the VA was Wisconsin. Wisconsin was always there as one of the top performers across the United States. And when I saw the opportunity for this job, I just had to apply for it. It was just one of those things that you couldn't let pass by.
Founded in 1903, the Wisconsin State Laboratory of Hygiene partners with researchers and clinical professionals on disease screening, environmental and occupational health, genetic testing, epidemics, and more.
Alert day conditions are back in the forecast for tomorrow.
Yeah, just one after another. Alex, what are we expecting and when will it start?
We are expecting this to start by the time we get to Tuesday evening, right around 6 o'clock, lasting through Wednesday morning through at least 6 a.m. for Madison and areas towards the north. A mix of snow, wind, and icy roads. And I'll explain the icy roads here in just a moment. Places that even don't get the snow also have that risk for icy roads. Let's break it down here. 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Viroqua, Boscobel, Lone Rock, Mineral Point, all seeing snow. That snow becomes widespread as we head into the middle of the evening commute for all of southern Wisconsin. Strong southeast winds, so that could cause some localized blowing and drifting of the snow. But take note down here, Janesville, Monroe, Platteville. Watch us what happens as we head into the overnight hours. Temperatures are going to rise, and that rain snow line sets up from Lone Rock to Madison to just north of Janesville. Areas over southwest Wisconsin could see some rain mixed in with a little bit of freezing rain. And it's this line. Look how thin this is, this pink band here. We're talking 10 miles, maybe 20 miles at most. Anything to the north, snow. Anything to the south, rain. But areas over southwest Wisconsin, even if you get rain, think of how deep the snow is, how long we've had the cold out there. Those untreated roads, they are going to be icy across all of southern Wisconsin. Then on the backside of the weather system, snow showers, cold, strong winds coming in from the north by 6 o'clock Wednesday morning, and then that should end the snow. But that wind's going to keep howling as we move through the daytime on Wednesday. Here's what we're thinking right now for total amounts. 1 to 3 inches stretching from Watertown to Madison to Lone Rock to Richland Center up to Viroqua. Camp Douglas, Marquette, Juneau, Adams counties, you may see 3 to upwards of 6 inches. But as I just mentioned, that rain snow line is very thin. A small shift north or south in that weather system could make a huge impact on the amount of snow that parts of southern Wisconsin receive. But we're all going to get the winds. Winds are going to be strong Wednesday morning, gusting at 30 to 35 miles per hour. So we will have some local blowing and drifting of the snow, even though it will be the wet variety. We have all that other snow out there across southern Wisconsin. Strong north winds continuing on Wednesday with falling temperatures. Here's now the advisories right now. 6 p.m. Tuesday to 6 a.m. Wednesday for areas just north of Madison, but I want to be abundantly clear that much of southern Wisconsin could see winter weather advisories if confidence continues to increase, and we're seeing this in our weather models of that snow shifting a little bit further to the south, and icy roads again are expected everywhere in southern Wisconsin. That's why this storm is complex. It's where does that sharp cutoff set up near the Madison area. If the track moves, the snow totals could change, and significantly, all cold surfaces, all untreated roadways, bridges, overpasses, sidewalks. We're looking at icy conditions even if we get rain in southern Wisconsin. And we got snow on the way already for tonight off to the northwest up towards Minneapolis. It's going to quickly shift towards the south and towards the east. This is just a little bit of light snow. But just a little bit, half inch, maybe an inch at most, could cause some slick spots by the time we get towards the 10 o'clock newscast going into that early morning commute. So be prepared for that before the alert day conditions start to set in Tuesday evening, going into Tuesday night, going on into Wednesday. Lows tonight around 19, rising temperatures overnight, highs in the 30s with that mix moving into southern Wisconsin. And bitterly cold temperatures. Look at the upcoming weekend. We could be looking at minus 20 below wind chills very soon.
All right, Alex, thank you. And it certainly looked cold at Lambeau yesterday with the Packers fresh off that big win against the visiting Chicago Bears.
And leading up to the matchup, Christian Watson was faced with some unpleasant memories. News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde has the story.
Heading into Sunday's matchup with the Bears here at Lambeau Field, Christian Watson didn't want to think about what happened the last time the Packers and Bears got together here. Of course, that was when he tore the ACL in his right knee in the regular season finale back on January 5th. But as the game got closer, Christian Watson admitted that it did weigh on him. You couldn't tell from the way he played with 4 catches, including a pair of long touchdowns, 23 and 41 yards. And for Jordan Love, he was excited to see his friend overcome those memories.
You know, going back to last year, I was sick, and everybody was sick, you know. End of the season, to see him go down like that. Obviously, he was battling through some other things throughout the season, but we were all sick, and we knew what it meant to him, and obviously it was going to be a long recovery for him to be able to get back. And like I've mentioned before, we've all watched him, you know, during rehab and things like that throughout the off season and training camp to be able to get back. And I think he's just playing at a really high level right now. And, you know, he talked in the locker room after, but, you know, this game meant a lot to him for that reason. And for him to be able to come out healthy and obviously have 2 big-time touchdown catches and made some other big-time plays. But, you know, I think since he's been back, he's just been making play after play and been playing at a really high level. So just got to keep it up, but definitely meant a lot.
You can read more about Watson's performance and get ready for Packers-Broncos at Denver on Sunday, when the Packers will take on the best team in the AFC, on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. The Packers' next matchup is this Sunday against the Denver Broncos.
That's right. They'll hit the road for another 3:25 kickoff, and you're going to watch it right here on WISE TV. And helping farmers fight rising costs, the billions of dollars in aid just announced by President Trump. Stay with us.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Back in March, President Trump fired the Democratic co-chair of the Federal Trade Commission.
And now the Supreme Court is hearing her case. The arguments are centered around whether the president has the authority to fire independent government officials. The Trump administration wants the High Court to overturn Humphrey's Executor versus the United States, a landmark 1935 ruling restricting the president's firing power. The court's conservative majority appeared inclined to side with that argument.
Humphrey's Executor is just a dried husk of whatever people used to think it was, because in the opinion itself, it described the powers of the agency it was talking about, and they're vanishingly insignificant, has nothing to do with what the FTC looks like today.
Liberal justices warned overturning that decision could give the president unchecked power that limits congressional authority. A ruling is expected this summer.
And President Trump throwing a lifeline to farmers struggling to sell crops while getting hit by rising costs. The president announcing a $12 billion farm aid package. He says the money will come from tariff revenues. Farmers felt the squeeze after President Trump raised tariffs on China as a part of a broader trade war with Beijing.
This relief will provide much needed certainty to farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year's crops, and it'll help them continue their efforts to lower food prices for American families.
President Trump also blamed his predecessor for the problem, saying inflation under President Biden crushed farmers. The Trump administration's payments are scheduled to be distributed in February. Alex is back. Final check of the forecast after a short break.
Tonight, buyer beware. Our Eye on America looks at the hidden costs of senior care.
That's ahead on the CBS Evening News.
And coming up at 6, we'll have continuing coverage on what neighbors want to see changed after F-35s return to the skies above Madison. That story and more at the top of the hour on News 3 Now at 6.
And Alex is back as we take one final check of the forecast.
One alert day.
Sharp cutoff.
Yes, that too. Tune in tonight at 6. I want to talk more about that sharp cutoff because that's going to make a big difference tomorrow with who sees the snow, who doesn't see the snow. Yeah. But even if you don't see the snow and you get some rain, think about how cold our pavement temperatures are right now. We're going to have icy spots across all of southern Wisconsin. This is Tuesday night going on into Wednesday. And tonight, don't let your guard down as we head later into the evening. Little light snow expected to develop with some slick spots. Not out of the question for that Tuesday morning commute before the alert day conditions really start to build in. But once again, 6 o'clock, tune in if you didn't get a chance to see me discuss the complexity with tomorrow's system. You don't want to miss that.
Okay, we will see you at 6, Alex. Thank you. Thanks for watching at 5 tonight, everybody.
Coming up next, CBS Evening News, and you can always find us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000+.